How do you turn a barren, sandy, suburban backyard into an amazing food forest with hundreds of edible plants? Come on a tour now with me into the amazing garden of Michele and Dario of Jetto's patch. This half-acre garden near Perth is going to blow your mind. I've been teaching permaculture now for around 30 years, and sometimes you go to gardens where you just find something really special. This is one of them. Michele is going to be sharing her garden tips, her design ideas, recipes, plant information, and all her secrets about how to create this absolutely beautiful, abundant, resilient, suburban backyard food forest. If we've not met before, hi, I'm Morag Gamble from the Permaculture Education Institute and the creator of this permaculture channel, Our Permaculture Life. I visit gardens all over and my own garden, sharing inspirational stories and ideas about how to create beautiful abundance. If you'd like to dive into this more to work out how to design your own abundant gardens, or to think about how you can teach permaculture to others and make this your livelihood too, check out the show notes. I have a whole range of courses that you can have a look at there. But now let's turn to this amazing garden tour with the wonderfully knowledgeable and humbly generous Michele Franzanelli. You are going to be amazed. Come and see what's possible in a suburban backyard. Oh, I almost forgot. This film is so full of tips and tricks, so I thought I would create a little bit of a summary sheet to help you kind of remember all the things that Michele and I have been talking about. Click down below and you can find the link to download this PDF. Hi everyone, I'm here at the garden of Michele and Dario Franzanelli, and it's called Jetto's Patch. Am I right?
Yes.
Jetto's Patch. And we're in Maida Vale in Western Australia, and so this is an amazing garden. You won't believe it when you see what Michele and Dario have created. So I'm going to follow Michele around as she gives me a bit of a tour of this place. So welcome and thank you for being part of our garden tour today.
Thank you very much for coming to visit.
Oh, I'm so inspired already. I had to stop Michele to say, I think we need to start recording because we were chatting so much already.
It's basically an average suburban plot. It's just under half an acre, so it's one of the old standard. We live quietly and somewhat differently from the rest of the neighbourhood. We're obsessed with growing useful and edible plants, and over the decades we've tried to show exactly how much can be grown across the Perth landscape from all over the world, and pretty much anything goes. We have some of the worst soils in the world, and it's often labour intensive to kind of keep on replenishing them, but it's worth it in the end. You can end up with good simple soil that will grow most plants and trees.
I wonder if you can just grab a handful of the soil to show, because you told me just before that this was sand. Underneath is sand. So, like, that is phenomenal. So, the secret to your success of growing such beautiful soil here, which is the foundation for everything, for the nutrients, for the thriving of the plants, for the holding of the moisture, what's your secret?
Basically, it's mulch. It's simple mulch that we either get from the park next door to us when they go mulching their eucalyptus trees, and also includes mixed tree mulch from the garden, and they're added to the soil. And it's a constant replenishment of thin layers of mulch throughout the year.
And so you told me before too that really nothing ever leaves this garden. Everything is always just put straight back into the garden.
Yeah, it's all recycled. Anything and everything we can.
In terms of protecting the moisture in the soil, one is this organic matter and the other is around providing shade, because as we walk through, we go under trees and we go under trellises and we go under vines that are just everywhere.
Well, all the kind of the trellises that you see, especially in summertime, they're covered in vines of various sorts, bean vines, pumpkin vines, you name it, and that creates shade throughout the garden. This is actually the open area where a lot of the main vegetables are grown, but vegetables and herbs are grown throughout the garden, in between the trees. And the trees are grown close together, kept to a minimum height for easy picking, but they provide enough light so that everything grows well and also keeps openness in winter through various deciduous trees and shade in summer.
And so what are the kind of things that you've been able to grow here that people are surprised by here in the Perth region?
Well, there's not a lot you can't grow. We've looked at growing from Northern Europe, from the Mediterranean, from the subtropical areas to the tropical areas, and most plants and trees will grow here. You may have to put a little bit more work into it, but just about everything and anything can grow in the Perth landscape.
Yeah. So we're underneath a massive pecan tree that, you know, anyone who knows pecans will know how big pecans get. But you have kept this to, you know, what would you say, pollarded this so that it comes down nice and low?
Pollarded the tree over a 14-year period so as not to shock it. He slowly brought it down until now it's just a small lollipop size. We still get bags of pecans, so more than enough for 2 people. You know, children are all grown up and gone away, so yeah.
And underneath this tree, so it provides enormous amount of shade and organic matter that you chop and drop, but underneath it you've got things that I can see are either self-seeding but also things that you're putting in, you know, this mixture of your vegetables and your trees is what you describe like a forage garden.
Well, in another month all the leaves will drop off this tree, so that's going to be dormant for the next 2-3 months. I've already planted potatoes under there. They will be up in maybe another week and a half, and so they'll be taking all the available light, and by the time I come to dig them up there will be new shoots on this tree.
Fantastic.
So it's a very intensive growing area in this garden.
So how did you learn to grow in this way?
We've both been of an era where we were brought up with it. Dario's parents grew all their own food in their backyard in Maylands. They arrived 1945 from Italy. Actually Trentino, which is basically an autonomous area, which was actually Austrian. My parents, they were very much into ornamental gardening, so I had that. But my aunt, she had 16.5 acres in the Rocky Mountains, and I used to spend a lot of my childhood with her, and she taught me everything about growing.
Amazing. And you said when you got here it was just lawn, which is hard to believe now because every single piece has so many things growing in it. Where was your starting point for your garden?
Basically over there, because over there, the original kind of vegetable area that I planted out, when I met Dario, I saw all this lawn and I saw this magnificent compost heap that he'd been kind of throwing things onto, and I thought this man has potential here. And so we got rakes and we spread it out across the garden, and I started planting.
And so you started with a herb garden and then you just kept going? Yeah,
it's basically because we were both working full time. We would set up a bed, and when that was established and we were happy that it was working, then we would move on to the next thing. There were some trees that you know were established, and we built on that. We filled in the gaps. I made out a list of things that I wanted to grow so that we had a good range of food for 12 months of the year. So that was a case of kind of jigsawing plants and trees from different areas of the world and fitting this in so that we had at least 12 different varieties of fruit and vegetables at any week in the year.
So as well as having that diversity of vegetables, you're also helping to grow seed as well. Like, I mean, you're saving seeds so that other people can grow out seeds as well, but mostly just sharing them amongst your community, or just how does that?
Yeah, it's kind
what's your approach on that?
Because we do garden tours, that tends to be done at those times or online. A lot of it I just kind of send people, you know, via envelopes.
What was a really great producer that you're so glad that you introduced into your garden?
I don't think you can go past citrus, you know, kind of, even though we're all familiar with you know, the citrus family, they're pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was told that you couldn't really grow apples well here. You couldn't grow bananas here. A lot of the subtropical trees you couldn't grow here. And we kind of decided to prove them wrong, really. We've got about 8 or 9 varieties of bananas. We used to have more, but we've whittled it down over the years with all the fruit trees as to the ones that we like best. And at the moment we're in the process of kind of downsizing because we're getting older, and we really want to now make sure the garden is low maintenance.
Yeah.
This happens throughout your life. If you're in the same place for a long time, you not only make it your life, you shape it to suit your life at different points.
How many fruit trees have you got here now at the moment?
There's over 200.
200?
Yep, it's
Holy
all
moly.
squeezed into this.
That is amazing. And like you said, you keep them small because you want to be able to harvest them, and you want to
Yes.
have space for light and other things. And
We don't want trees that produce massive amounts of fruit, because then it would be a case of trying to, you know, find ways to give them away, which we do, but that takes up time. We're in an area where there's a lot of fruit fly, and we also have to maintain the trees by putting nets over and bagging the fruit, and that takes time too. So we keep it small and manageable.
so this garden is for you and your family. This is just to produce food for you, and as a beautiful place to be.
And it's, as you can see, it's absolutely doable.
Yes, yeah.
But it does take time.
Yeah.
I think people tend to be quite impatient now. They buy a tree and, you know, kind of 6 months later, why isn't it giving me fruit?
Yeah. So if you were to start thinking about getting a fruit tree somewhere, like what do you do first before you go out and buy the fruit tree? How do you prepare your soil for planting?
We have pure sand here. There's a lot of products on the market and they do a good job, but we like to keep as much in-house as possible. Dario always says that sand is a perfect growing medium because it provides good drainage. And yes, things do get harsh here in summer. We put layers of mulch on a new bed. It might be quite a thick layer to begin with, and we let that break down for about a year. We'll continue to replenish it if necessary. And by the time we've done that, we've got a nice good layer of black gold.
So your whole garden basically is a compost.
Yes.
So you're not compost over there and then bringing it to somewhere else. You just all the time composting everywhere.
Yeah.
Like nature does.
That's initially. Now after that has taken place, then we'll start to improve it. But because we are intensively growing, because we don't leave any of the ground fallow at all, I honestly, because we love the food so much, we don't have time for green manure. Great though it is, we just choose to keep improving the soil after we've harvested the vegetables. And so they'll get a handful of rock dust for minerals and trace elements. The most important thing for Perth soils, minerals and trace elements, because we are severely deficient in them. And you have to use good quality rock dust. There is some rubbish out there, but you've got to look at the item and make sure that it has a comprehensive amount of minerals, especially, you know, things like zinc, selenium, boron, minute quantities, but they are essential to the soil.
Yeah, and you can just see around you. Everything just looks so vibrant and healthy. I mean, what you're doing, the plants are telling you that it's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until very recently, we had chickens. We've kept chickens for a very long time, and so the garden basically ran on chicken manure and mulch.
How did you manage this garden with chickens?
They had the whole back garden to run around in, and that was cordoned off, and they would be let out, and I'd just kind of follow them around with a broom. Oh my God, there's still a pumpkin up there.
So this is an avocado tree. What kind of avocado is this?
Now there's worts on this side, and there's a Charwell on the other.
Ah, okay. Very
Shepherd,
nice.
sorry, Shepherd. Yep. Dario has
is the
grafted
grafter.
it. He's started in recent years to go around grafting little extras onto all of the trees.
That's such a great idea. So I've noticed too that you've got lots of things like sweet potato underneath. How does your sweet potato grow here in this climate?
I use it as a ground cover because it keeps the weeds down.
It's fantastic at that, yes.
But growing them directly under a tree means that they get less light, so you're going to get less tubers. So kind of the tubers tend to come from around the edges where there is more light, but because you can eat the leaves
That's
of
right.
sweet potatoes, that
So
can
much
also
food.
provide a summer spinach as well.
Yeah. So I can imagine when you're harvesting for your dinner, you'd have like, I don't know, 100 different sorts of greens.
Something like that. It's sometimes it's fun because when you put something together, you never know what you're going to be harvesting. And so you can kind of be chefy and put all sorts of fantastic things on the
You get
plate.
a gourmet dinner every night.
Yeah, and it looks very colourful with all
know.
the different fruits as well that you can
Yeah.
add, and nuts and things like that.
Look at these avocados, so amazing. So this trellis would have had, I can see remnants of tomatoes on it, and
Yeah, it's had tomatoes over summer and also a pumpkin called Argentine primitive, which is not available commercially for the last 30 years, I believe.
oh wow.
It is grown by some people down south,
Yeah.
including a farmer who gave it to me, who I'm
Very great.
perpetually grateful to.
And this bean,
Oh,
what is
yeah,
this? This is
it's
magnificent.
a purple lab bean.
And also, I've noticed too, lots of the kind of the mustard greens.
Yeah, the
Do they self-seed for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
all over the place. So there's actually meant to be shallots about to start shooting underneath there, but they're not going to get much of a chance
Right,
until I
right.
start harvesting
those.
these.
Yeah.
Down
Pear
here
bosque.
is kind of an apple area. There's a pear tree, couple of pear trees,
Pecan
and the rest
pears,
are apples.
Bear bosque, and then more mango.
In between the apple trees, over winter, when they lose their leaves, up come all the broccolis and kales and self-sown cabbages.
So you're saying you just get self-seeding broccoli growing in and around underneath.
all over the place.
How beautiful is that? Like, it seems to me like your strategy has created a level of ease. The fact that things will self-seed. Do you ever find yourself moving things around or thinning things out a lot?
Oh
or?
yes, because sometimes they come up in inappropriate places where you're going to walk over them or things like that. So then I'll just kind of get a basket and I'll dig them up and relocate them. But it's fun because, especially because brassicas cross-pollinate quite readily, you get some interesting crosses. I've had one with Tuscan kale, much larger leaves, much flatter leaves than normal, so you get kind of twice the leaf for
Amazing.
your money.
You're a living seed bank here in your
Yep.
garden.
The crosses are also much hardier, so yes, no work food.
I know. Isn't that amazing? And I'm noticing behind you here the banana upper story.
That's a red Dhaka banana, and it's a slow producer because it obviously prefers warmer weather, which we don't get in winter. It's quite
so you
happy
said you
here.
have 8 varieties of bananas here. Bananas or?
I think it's 9.
9.
There used to be about 12, but we have got rid of some which we just didn't like the taste of.
So do you have any that you use as cooking bananas? Are they all sort of?
No.
No.
We did grow them,
Yep.
but Dario's not into that kind of thing, so yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you've got a garden that is, well, it's not a small garden, but you have limited space. You go, okay, what do I need to grow? What can I let go? And I think
Yes.
that's a really important strategy.
Yeah, and that's where we're at now. It's gone from try everything and have fun
Yeah.
to we know what we like, we know what works.
Let's do that.
We're
Yeah.
well and truly into an established routine with this garden.
Yeah.
And this is the life that we lead.
And I wanted to ask you, you have lots of pots around the edges here. Why do you grow in pots when you have garden space?
You think you want to grow something, you think there's no space, but plant it in a pot and suddenly you find space.
So extra space for all those extra things.
Actually, there's an extra reason, because in a garden like this, the main job is light maintenance. And for some plants, growing them in pots, simply because you've raised them up a little bit, they get a little bit of extra light, just enough in an awkward position for them to grow well. Yeah.
Really sensible.
In the case of this one, it's even more simple because these are garlic chives. I plant those in the garden, they will spread everywhere. They're too invasive.
Yeah.
They're best in a pot.
Is that the white flowering garlic chives? Or
Yes.
Yeah, I have the white flowering and also the purple flowering. The purple flowering seems to be a little bit more well behaved.
Yeah.
It clumps rather than does the spreading thing. Yeah.
I don't think those are available in WA, and we are actually more limited in a way because we have the highest restrictions,
Yes, you
quarantine
do.
restrictions
That's right.
in the world. We are now almost totally cut off as regards a lot of seeds from the rest of Australia and the rest of the world.
Amazing.
So we actually have to save every seed we can, if possible, if you're living in WA, because things are starting to get tougher in that respect.
I think we should all be doing the seed saving as well.
Yes.
And because it's, relying on other people to keep growing seeds for us is a huge thing. Whereas the more that we grow them in our place, the more they're localizing, the more that they start to belong here and become, like you were saying before, stronger, more resilient and adapted.
I'd probably go as far as to say I think the nursery industry is shrinking slowly but surely. Also for fertilisers and things like that, they are going to become more expensive and less available. So I think the more people learn to save seed and also try and dress their soils locally and in-house as much as possible, the better off they will be if they gain those skills, because one day we may not be able to get all these fancy fertilisers anymore. We use manure. I mean, the place used to be run on chicken manure, but when we got rid of the chickens and when we acquired more and more trees, we started using sheep manure.
So where do you source that from?
It's a local organic guy up in the hills.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's easy.
And so you just sprinkle the sheep manure around, or you compost it
just
first?
as needed. I mean, a plant just needs a small handful. That will keep them going for a few months.
And so you don't do anything to it. You just have your sheep manure and just sort of
different techniques depending on what type of plant it is.
Okay.
Because some plants require more manure than others. Brassicas tend to be quite heavy feeders. Other things really they don't really like much fertiliser at all. Some of the subtropical trees they like cow manure because it's a gentler manure, and so we did use some cow manure in the past. We've decided, we're going to kind of cut back on that too, because everything's just fine. So now we're down to a little bit of chicken manure and a bit of sheep manure.
Amazing. Everything looks so vibrant. Should we go down this way and see?
Yeah, sure.
I'm noticing too there's a lot of little things like dandelions in the pathways and wonderful things popping up all over the place. It's like it's a garden that wants to burst.
So you can just see a few of the Redaka bananas over there.
Look at that.
Starting to make some. I think all these will burst into flower very shortly. So we've got a mango here, which is actually going to be moved eventually. Dario's kind of taking graft, so we actually might get rid of this one. We've become very good at moving mature trees around.
How do you do that?
Basically, it's a matter of cutting around the roots, and also pruning the top to some degree. Not enough to shock the plant too much, and resting it for a while to get it used to the situation. And then we dig another hole, solid base. Don't put any compost or anything in the bottom because that could cause instability. We put it on the firm sand, and then we put the compost all around it.
So it just seeps in.
Doesn't disturb the root base too much.
Your garden is like your palette. We keep painting new designs as you go. Hi, I'm Morag Gamble from the Permaculture Education Institute, and if we've not met before, I'm a permaculture educator and designer. I've been teaching permaculture for over 30 years. If you'd like to find out more about how to do this kind of design work and perhaps even become a teacher yourself, check out the show notes below. I've got a whole range of different courses that you can do with me. And I can see here that the importance of bagging.
It's, I mean, in WA, fruit fly is pretty bad. Bagging and putting nets over trees is basically mandatory for most fruits. Resting a net on top of a tree can sometimes make it unstable if you have high wind. Dario welded some metal structures, like the spokes of an umbrella on
nice.
a pole,
Yep.
puts it next to the tree, and it just takes a couple of poles and we quickly slip the net over.
Fantastic.
So it takes the work out of it,
Yeah.
and the weight of the net does not rest on the
Tree
tree.
is protected, yeah.
So that's helped us.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
we can do that because we're keeping the trees all within picking size. All of these, you know, kind of tree branches are potentially going to be mulch at some point,
Yep.
you know, because we're pruning little bits throughout the year, and that creates the good soil that we've got.
What have you got here? What's growing on here? Is this cabbage?
Yes, cabbages. They're a bit close together at the moment, but that's all right. They'll sort themselves out.
Yeah.
They tend to kind of flop out in different directions.
So we've got the pomegranates above. Sorry, I'm just going to straighten up my
this
screen.
this is a sunrise lime,
A sunrise lime.
and there's an emperor mandarin behind it. We have more lima beans, the Madagascar lima beans. There's
There's an
arrowroot.
arrowroot.
Yep.
Yep. That's a very popular one in mine for chop and drop materials because it just
Yes.
grows so fast. And,
Yeah. Well, as you can see, kind of from the banana
bananas.
trees, they
Yeah,
get
yeah.
dropped around the bed. When some of the trees lose their leaves, we just sweep all that into the bed,
Yep.
or else it gets taken down to the compost heap if I need it for things like seed raising mix. I don't make the seed raising mix myself anymore, but
Yep.
I used to, and so the leaf mould was a very good
What was your
ingredient.
recipe for your seed raising mix?
Basically just garden sand.
Yep.
We keep a pile of the original garden sand back
Yep.
there, and I mixed that with the sifted leaf mould and just added a tiny amount of manure, and that's it. So we've got chicory here, so that's flowering, and that goes to seed all by itself. Takes about 6-7 months before it goes through the whole process, so it can be a bit awkward
So you've
with
got
these
it
plants
Yeah.
hanging around. But
So what do you do? Do you just sort of like tuck them back like that? And
yeah,
do you
we
keep
just
track of what's
push
seeding?
and shove them out of the way, basically.
Do you keep track of what's seeding and come out and collect
I
them,
try
or you just?
to, and I mean, if I can't remember where it is, then I write signs out and things like
I've
that.
noticed you have
so-
lots of signs. So
yeah.
that's mostly because this is also a teaching garden as well, and a place where you've had many visitors come.
Yes, I think most of Perth has actually seen this place over the last few decades.
So what, permaculture courses, tours, visits, media visits,
community gardens,
garden groups, or
Yep.
and it's an amazing gift to be able to open up your garden like that. I mean,
Well,
it's
we
huge
want
thing
to
to do.
share the wonderful life that we lead,
Yeah.
and just to make sure that people don't lose connection with their food.
Yeah.
And humans have grown food and foraged food for, well, you know, millennium.
Yeah.
So in some way, and Perth is just such a perfect place to grow most of the plants and trees you can imagine from all around the world.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it. The prices are not going to go down in the shops, and we're eating
Yeah.
food that is perfectly organic. We know what went into it. It hasn't been stored for 2 or 3 years, and we pick it at exactly the time of our choosing when it's perfectly ripe to our taste. You can't really do any better than that.
No, you can't. And this is our natural habitat.
Yeah, and I don't want to lose contact with that either, because
yeah.
it's part of what makes us human.
Yeah.
It's being around nature and being around the soil.
Yeah. And growing things, tending to things, and just feeling, I don't know, like sheltered by this. Like, you know, it's this beautiful garden you've created. It doesn't feel like you're out here being exposed to the elements or, you know, the hard labour of lots of digging and turning and things. It's this gentle way of being that's nourishing.
Yes, and in case I didn't mention it, this is a no-dig garden.
Yep.
So we've got a moringa tree
Oh,
there. It's an African moringa.
Yeah,
And we've got a young... There's 3 different grafts on that mango
magic.
tree.
And
this
then-
is where we keep the main mulch pile. This is one of the important things about being able to manage a garden like this that we found. Firstly, having mulch always at hand all year round.
Yeah.
Having compost at hand all year round.
Yeah.
Having seeds around
Yeah.
all year round.
When the lockdowns happened and things,
I had great fun. I didn't even notice
So
it.
you wouldn't have noticed here.
Honestly.
Right. This avenue of apples here looks absolutely delightful. So how are you managing these apples?
They're still kind of semi-espaliered.
Yeah.
They were espaliered when we had the chicken pen fence along,
okay.
but they're very soon to have a major prune. But in between, they're just creating a nice little sheltered area.
So in summer, so we're here almost in winter at the moment, and it's just
Well,
absolute abundance. In summer, what is it like out here?
Stinking hot.
Is the honest truth. But underneath, in terms of what you can grow, is it like you still able to grow lots of things underneath everything?
Yes.
And what about
Yeah.
your water? How do you manage keeping water to
Because of
things?
the tree cover, we're about 12 degrees lower in temperature
Yeah.
out in the garden than on the main road.
12 degrees
About
difference.
12 degrees difference.
You know, like this is the kind of information that we need to be sharing with policy makers. You know, our cities and our towns are going to become unlivable as things get, heat up.
Yeah.
12 degrees. That's
Yeah.
not unsubstantial.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's
and that
pretty
would
amazing.
be, I guess, because of not just the shade, but also that microclimate, the moisture in the soil. Like
Yes.
you'd be a far more...
And of course, subtropical trees love the moisture
Yeah.
that's kind of being kept in the ground
Yeah.
and also generated around them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it all
amazing.
works out very well.
And also some warrigal
very
greens
simple-
growing underneath here. The New Zealand spinach.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's another plant that just pops up around the garden, self-seeds.
And look at it. So we've got underneath here, underneath these pear trees and the citrus, there's the sweet potato
Yep.
and then the warrigal greens. And
Yep.
look at that. That's this beautiful living mulch.
Yep.
So you just keep trimming it as it starts to escape into your pathways.
Yes, the warrigal greens are good because they don't like the summer very much. And what happens is they like to retreat back under
Right.
the trees.
Yep.
And that's where they hang around. So they're still available to be picked.
Yep.
But once the weather gets cooler, they start becoming more adventurous and they pop out again.
It's so fun to watch them over the seasons. And I guess, like, if you've been here for how many years have you been here now? 30? No, 40?
I came here in 89 and my husband was here in about 78.
So many decades.
Yes.
Yeah. So you
So-
would have watched and noticed lots of things.
I mean, the garden has changed with us.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all lawn when Dario lived here by
Yeah.
himself. That changed when I arrived on the scene.
Yeah.
When we had children, we had to make areas
Yeah.
for them. They had to have, tree houses. They had a flying fox across the
how
garden.
cool.
So once they'd grown up,
Yeah.
then we could plant even more trees.
Yeah.
So
Are they gardeners?
they
Yeah.
don't have the means to garden,
Yeah.
but they are able to identify all the edible plants
Yeah.
and trees wherever they are
Yeah.
because they've grown up basically picking wherever they
Yeah,
walk.
Yeah,
So-
and it's a different relationship you have, I think, with the landscape around you when you are looking through that lens.
So why not turn your backyard into an edible
That's
food
right.
forest?
And the closer we could bring our food, the more that the rest of the land can go back to nature.
I'll show you the compost
Oh,
heap.
let's go.
What happens here is basically we are chopping and pruning little bits and pieces every few days, and that just gets taken down, dumped on there, we walk away. We come back again a few days and we build up these very aerated layers throughout the year, and eventually it turns into that black gold, which I use to establish any brand new bed or just top up the pots around the garden. It's cold composting, so it takes 4 or 5 months before it's ready, but we don't really need much more because we're putting layers of mulch throughout the garden.
Yeah.
And as we've established, every bed is a compost heap.
Yep.
So we only need a small amount.
Everything is just here,
Yes.
right at your fingertips.
That's the focus.
So do you spend most of your days out here pottering around, enjoying the space? Where's your favourite spot to sit in your garden if you're just enjoying yourself? And
Let's put it this way, sitting doesn't happen very often. Little bits of early garlic coming up.
I asked you how many fruit trees, but how many varieties of plants or vegetables or things,
Oh,
herbs do you have? Have you
gosh.
bothered counting those, or is it just...
that's kind of about 400.
Right.
It's throughout the year. It changes
Yeah.
every month.
Yeah.
So, kind of there'll be about 8 to 10 varieties of peas, climbing, dwarf. Same for the beans in summer.
Yeah.
Things like that. There's various subtropical spinaches. There's all sorts.
Thing that you did about mapping the months out, I mean, that to me sounds like something that you would recommend everyone sit back and do when they're starting.
I actually think quite a few people do that because they have difficulty memorising what to plant when.
Yeah.
So they tend to make up a little Excel chart of some kind, month by month, what they're going to plant.
Yeah.
It has to be looked at as a guideline only. WA landscape is vast, and there's different climatic areas, and even within this area you can build microclimates that mean everything changes and becomes better.
I wonder whether this works for you too, but something that I watch is I watch what's self-seeding in the garden at the time, which then gives me an indicator so if the mustard benches are coming up, then other things might like to also come up too.
Yeah, I'm good at memorising all the patterns in the garden over many decades. I use the plants that are coming up as indicators of when to plant more.
Yes, the chart is good to get yourself planned to start, but then to move into that observation state of seeing what's going on.
Black sapote here.
Oh, yeah.
These are all blueberries. Because we have very poor alkaline soil, blueberries love acidic soil. Now you can spend a fortune here creating a magnificent bed for your blueberries, and year after year you're going to be pouring more and more acidic soil into it to dress it. It costs a fortune, so this is a kind of cheap solution. It stabilises the soil temperature to bury the pot, and this is really quite a large olive barrel. We filled it initially with acidic kind of rose azalea type soil mix, and all we need to do is just top it up a little bit every year and the plants are happy. There are pine trees nearby. We collect the pine needles and we place those on top, usually as a mulch.
That's very clever. So it's right in the middle of all the other garden, but you've created a little unique habitat.
And the lower temperatures being in this sunken pot really does make a difference in Perth, because being such a hot place, this is a cold climate bush.
Yeah. So where's north here in your garden? That way. Okay.
Yep.
Do you see this is lots of little sun traps in your garden?
There are small sun traps. So this is the other thing that we have to manage with the trees, just to make sure that the sun is getting through in the right places for half the year. Cherry trees are very hard to grow across the Perth plains. They're fine further south or up in the hills where it's kind of colder in the winter. This particular tree came out a few years ago. It's on a dwarf rootstock, but what we found was it can't cope with the summer sun.
Right.
Hence the special structure just for this one tree to make sure that it survives through the summer.
Oh, you're so kind to your plants. Oh, macadamias too.
Yes,
God.
Dario imported this tree from Queensland. This is the one of the original kind of Lismore macadamia trees. He carried it around Maylands lovingly for a while, and then when he moved here, he planted it.
Yeah.
And it's been here, quite a long time now.
Do you have any problems at all with things like possums or rats or, like eating nuts and...
Yeah, rats is a good one. Mention the word rats and you'll hear the shrieks across WA nowadays from gardeners, because we're all sick to death of them. In the last 5 or 6 years, the summers have become hotter and longer, and the rats have exploded.
Oh gosh, wow.
And they're looking for food, obviously, and things are getting more harsh for them.
Yeah, and so they're
it's getting drier and drier. So yes, they are really starting to attack fruit that... 6 years ago, we never had a single rat attack any of our fruit.
I noticed you've got lots of little ponds or bird baths or bee.
Yeah, that's both for the bees and the birds and whatever. They're scattered all over the place. So.
Yeah, lovely. I'll just follow you round as you walk through some of the other bits, because there's so much in here.
We've got starfruit behind you. It's quite interesting to have the starfruit in winter, you'd expect a subtropical tree like this to prefer summer, but it seems quite happy giving us about 3 or 4 flushes of fruit, and one during the winter, which makes a great change from the general citrus. Now, in the past, some of the bananas that we had were old-fashioned, full-size, 4 or 5 metre plants. And one of the things that we have downsized in recent times is to try and get a dwarf version of those banana varieties that we liked.
Yeah. And what's this growing here?
That's a tobacco plant. It's just ordinary tobacco. It's a red leaf variety. It just comes up where it wants.
Yeah. And you've got some water plants here too, I'm seeing. So you've got some taro, some kangkong, and I noticed somewhere else you had bathtubs full of water chestnuts too.
There's 2 dedicated tubs for water chestnuts because it makes it easier to harvest them.
Do you just tip them up and empty them out, or
But they're also growing around the pond, and we've got several ponds around the place because one of the pest control creatures for us are frogs.
Yes.
So we try to make habitats for those, and also because we have so much bird life coming in here. The ponds are also useful for them too. Something for everyone here.
Something for everyone.
So a lot of the citrus are down this side.
Do you love cooking as much as you love growing?
I like trying to preserve in as many ways as possible everything that we have grown.
And you're documenting this, aren't you, on your...
Yes, and the only reason I do that is to share that kind of fun of doing all these things, of growing the plants and what to do with them.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook gardening group called Jetto's Patch, and Dario and I both have public Facebook accounts. I catalogue month by month everything that happens here in the way of growing food. He tends to stick to some of the things that are growing here and also any projects that he's doing. So the albums go back years, month by month.
Just so if you're listening to this, I'll link the links to those down below in the show notes, so you go and have a look and you can click on them and find out more.
The fruit and vegetables that we grow here, that's actually what makes things exciting and makes you want to cook.
Yes.
And makes you want to invent new things and try new things. It's like an endless playgroup here. You know.
I was having my hand on this and I noticed that you've got this bit of fencing here. So finding whatever you've found a use for as well. Like there's an old umbrella there that's been used for things. It just everywhere has things that are repurposed.
Yes,
it's like a repurposing garden too.
There are local things all around us that can be repurposed into something useful for the garden rather than going out and spending a fortune buying them. And also it's all about recycling.
It's not a no-work garden, it's not a no-cost garden, but it's a sheer joy garden full of just something every day that you can come and harvest and eat from. And
over here is a blueberry area, so this is where we've got the main lot of blueberries, which at the moment are starting to go into dormancy. The more varieties you can get, the more they help pollinate each other, so you'll increase the amount of fruit that you get. So
diversity is the way to go.
Also, the more varieties you have, the more you can space your harvest over the year. We get maybe 10, 11 months of fruit, and just in case it gets too hot for them, we've got a structure above and we just slip a shade cloth over it, or we can grow a vine over it. Even though it's kind of free and easy here, and it's been done a bit at a time as we were able to when we were both working full time, there has been thought that has been put into it, and Dario's put a lot of design thought into all these structures.
Every single piece has been thought about many times, obviously. You've got some rose hips here. Look at that.
Yes, I dry the petals and I make rosehip tea and all that kind of thing. I make my own herbal medicines. I make herbal cosmetics, herbal teas, anything, herbal cleaners. I love herbs.
Yes.
The herbs are kind of scattered all around, so they're quite easily missed. But
you've got some bitter melon up here. Do you eat it when it's young, or do you wait for the seeds?
You can actually eat the red
It's very
gooey
sweet,
stuff
interesting
around.
flavour, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're best eaten when they're young,
Yeah.
and they're an acquired taste because they are so bitter.
Yeah.
But as long as you understand to scrape the white pith out first, and then slice them very finely, and perhaps soak them in salted water, you'll find they're a lot more palatable.
Thank you for that tip.
I became addicted to them thanks to my neighbour who was growing this odd fruit that kept crawling over into our backyard.
Yeah.
And I went around there and said, what are they? They presented them to me in various ways and made me taste them, and I just...
What culture of food?
From the Seychelles.
Ah, okay. It's so interesting to talk to people from different places and cultures. If you took someone from every different culture through your garden, you would hear different stories and different ways of
we do.
producing. Oh my gosh, it's
That's
fascinating.
actually the fun part about having groups of people through the garden, because you make very interesting friends and you hear amazing stories.
Oh gosh, and look at your figs up there.
Yes, going to be the very last fig feast.
Do you make figgy jam?
Yes, always. That's one of the standards. I think for a lot of people, really, we can't resist figs. I've been planting out some of these areas.
Oh, so you've got strawberries, I can see. Lots
They're
of
all
strawberries.
starting to die back. There's a monstera fruits
Oh, yes.
down there.
How do you eat that?
Put it in a paper bag to let it ripen, and just eat the parts where the outside, the green parts have fallen off. I actually prefer just one small section to have split before I pick it.
Right.
So,
That's a good guide. Lemon myrtle and tamarillo.
Yep.
Nasturtium.
Yes, I mean this is kind of the great granddaughter of the original plant now.
So you just keep taking cuttings and plugging cuttings and
Just kind of keep
okay.
propagating them and giving them away now. We've got the dragon fruits contained neatly.
So how many different sorts of dragon fruits do you have?
There's 5. Very
Yeah.
little lot. There's quite a few cuttings that are given away throughout the year. We don't really get a massive amount.
So that's creating its own little shelter here too.
Yes. You can see some of the water chestnuts dying down, and the watercress,
There's the
which
water
is one of my
chestnut.
favourite greens of all.
It's great, isn't it?
I'm about to harvest
the
those now. They're
watercress.
just starting to turn yellow. I'm just going to pull them
Yeah.
out because there's always some left behind, so you don't
That's
really
right.
have to do much
Well,
work.
you want to leave them behind, don't you? That's the whole point. Oh,
I
I
think
got the froggery.
There's still
Oh yeah, I
we
can see
picked
some up
most
the
of the
top.
dragon fruits the
Yeah.
other day, so this will probably be the last. Still a green one there.
Yeah. Is this a ruby grapefruit?
Yes, yeah. The new horror that we have in Western Australia now with the citrus is gall wasp. That's running through everybody's citrus at the moment and causing.
So you're just
havoc.
chopping them off, Dario?
Yep.
And...
We solarise them.
Ah, okay. Just tell me what you do with that. So there's your gall wasp.
All I do is isolate them and I put them in a jar. I cut them up and the sun cooks them, kills them.
That's it. So you just got. So how often would you go around looking for the gall wasps?
Whenever you're walking around, they stand out like, how do they say, dog's balls.
Yes, right. I just wanted to ask you about here. So you've got peanuts.
Yes.
What are they? Are they kumquats, chilies, pigeon peas? Oh, so this whole area here is the drying area, or
Yes,
the
because it's warm and sunny even in winter. And it's kind of a semi-storage area as well.
the macadamia.
This is to stop the rats. People throw these away. We just collect them off the verge
All right.
and the rats can't get in.
What else have you got in there?
Pecans.
Oh, pecans. Filing cabinet of treasures.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is a grapevine, is
We
it?
use these olive barrels for brambleberries as well.
Boysenberry,
Because,
marionberry.
As I think most people know, they're quite invasive. Their roots will go everywhere. This keeps them contained.
Fabulous. Where do you get these from?
There are olive barrel importers,
Right.
and sometimes they're willing to give them away.
How deep are they going?
They go very deep.
Yeah.
A large hole is taken out of the centre, and a large pot is put through it so that there's even more depth. It gives it a little bit of drainage, and the roots just kind of go round and come up again, and so it's not invasive at all.
Yeah, fabulous idea.
Yeah.
So how many have you got here? You got marionberry, boysenberry, loganberry,
Different sorts, yeah.
youngberry.
And a grapevine just to give them a little bit of shade in summer, because especially things like raspberries, they hate the summertime, the summer sun. Here we've got a jaboticaba tree.
They're amazing, aren't they? The way they produce
Yeah.
up their stem.
See, this one fruited after about 6 years. It was,
Okay.
it was
That's
reasonably
not-
early because
yeah.
I was told it was going to be 10 or 11
I
before.
know. So this is your front, this is the entrance.
The driveway, as you can see, that gets shade from all the overhead structures as well in
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
We can grow grapevines and choco and passion fruits,
yeah.
and whatever we choose, really.
And you've got another moringa out here too.
Yes.
And it's got some
that's
drumsticks
the kind
on
of
it there.
standard moringa that you find in the nurseries.
Yeah.
So-
And is that different from the one out the back?
Yes,
Ah.
the one out the back is the African moringa. It has a slightly different shaped leaf and a nuttier, slightly sweeter flavour.
So-
Throughout these beds, artichokes just self-seed everywhere.
Look at that.
But I do have set varieties which I leave alone, and I ensure I remember where they are so
Yeah.
that I can still keep them. But it's actually quite fun to see all the different variations. I've had buds of artichoke flowers that are half green and half purple, and all sorts of weird and
wow.
wonderful combinations.
You have a mental map of where everything is.
Yeah. I can remember what I've planted in the beds for about 5 years back, but if I'm really on the game, then I actually write some of them down in a book.
Are these tomatoes self-seeding tomatoes, or have you planted those?
No, that was actually a self-seeded one that was just over there, and I moved it over there
Nice.
into the cage because I
Yeah.
had grown a tomato there previously.
A lot of people ask me too about things like companion planting, but really your garden is just one whole entire community of plants.
Yeah, a companion planting is useful. This garden's become a kind of free-for-all. They make their own minds up who they want
they
to
like.
associate with.
Exactly, and I think that's a really interesting thing, isn't it? Like when you're getting started, maybe it might help, or if you've got a sort of a monoculture farm and you're wanting to add something,
Yep.
it might help. But once you get to this, like it is a community.
Yeah.
There's little friend groups.
We have tried to copy nature, the way it operates.
Yeah.
And plants are random. They pick where they grow best. You
Yeah.
know, they sow several seed. Some do better than others. Maybe 2 or 3 survive. That's what we try and copy.
And so you watch that to see where each of those things likes to thrive, and then
Yeah.
you copy nature.
Yes, that's it.
That's the best lesson, yeah.
Observation. Really.
And what have we got here? Ginger.
This is another case of observation. Somehow, accidentally, a ginger tuber ended up here, and I noticed that it was actually growing rather well.
Yeah.
Ginger can be a bit temperamental
Yeah.
in the Perth climate. This is their chosen
That's their
spot.
chosen spot.
Yep. And I think that's one of the fundamental aspects of permaculture is
Yeah.
observation.
Exactly. Observe and interact.
You see, a tangelo tree also has a squash growing through it. So this is Jetto okosamin squash, which was considered some kind of lost North American squash. I actually gave a heap away over the years, and I discovered a few months ago I only had 1 seed left.
What's its name again?
Jetto okosamin.
So these are being grown out to
Yeah.
get some more seeds.
Yeah, and they can be eaten when they're very young, like zucchini, or at full size when they're actually bright orange as a squash. And they're one of those winter squashes that can be kept for about 4 months.
And I just saw up here these lovely structures that
Yes.
are here for covering plants. So let me just stand back here.
And
so
when
that-
we have walks around, we've found golf balls and things like that. They've all been utilised.
So these are the things that you're saying you just throw the shade cloth over the top of
Yeah.
these? I love them. It's like garden sculpture with a
of
purpose.
One of Dario's inventions, and he's actually the central disc there. You can fit different lengths in there. He's got a couple of lengths depending on whether the tree's small
Very
or
clever.
the tree's
Very
big.
clever. Some sugar cane behind you.
Yes, the red sugar cane. We've got white sugar cane and red sugar cane. This is a bell apple.
bell apple. I don't know a bell
lemon
apple.
verbena here. There's an avocado. There's a couple of grafts on there.
Oh, yes.
I know the main one is Hass,
And it's got fuerte.
but I think there's meant to be a reed on there as well. So we've got Cavendish banana around here, and there's a lily pilly. Oh, you can see a bunch of bananas as well here. There's about 6 of them around the place. They're all hiding. So
lots of lily pillies.
lily pillies. I make lily pilly champagne out of those.
And then the Tangelo behind us here.
Yep.
Lily pilly champagne. How do you do that? I mean, everyone has lily pillies on their lily pilly hedges.
Sugar, vinegar, fruit,
Right.
and lemons.
Okay.
Lots of lily pillies, bung them in a bucket.
Yeah.
4 lemons, just cut into wedges, throw them in, throw in the sugar, throw in a little bit of vinegar, some water,
Yeah.
leave it for 2 weeks to ferment, and then bottle it.
That sounds easy.
Yes, very easy. You can then drink it as just an ordinary fizzy drink within a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
or you can leave it to mature, and it becomes, like
alcoholic.
a elderflower champagne, just a mild, fizzy, exciting little drink.
So I've just noticed under here there's lots of nasturtiums growing. You've got little thing here for bees and frogs. It's just something everywhere you look, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. There's different sorts of chilies.
It's come down to about 4 different types that are hardy through the winter time. And this one doesn't really have a name. It was actually one of those ubiquitous Thai chilies that you find in all nurseries, which change shape every year.
And so you just keep taking cuttings off that and replanting it out again? Or
They'll come true to type from seed. As long as I keep the other varieties far enough away from them, they'll be fine. But I don't really need to propagate this very often. It'll last up to 5 or 6 years here if it's really happy. So they're short-term perennials, really.
Oh, we've got a locust here.
Pomegranates,
Pigeon peas. Look at the size of the pods. I mean, they're really, really quite substantial. What do your neighbours say about your garden? Do you have friends in your neighbourhood?
Yeah, we give bananas and a few things to some of the neighbours, and I used to go down the street with a couple of baskets asking if they wanted anything. And I used to give eggs away to the neighbours when we had lots of chickens. So I miss my chickens.
Yeah, they're so
really
lovely, aren't they? What's this tree here?
Yeah, that's desert lime tree. Very small limes. They're made into very expensive condiments. They also make a good powder to sprinkle over ice creams and curries and things like that.
I wanted to ask you about this one here, the bell apple, because it's also not something that I'm particularly familiar with.
Right, the bell apple originates
I love this. It's
from
all these
countries
things.
like Indonesia.
Yes, the size of the leaf kind of indicates to me it's something from that part of the world.
Now what happened was when Australia was joined onto the Asian continent, this type of tree worked its way down into Australia, and eventually of course Australia, the Australian continent drifted away, the continent became drier, and the trees morphed into something slightly different, and that was called a lily pilly tree.
Oh,
so
no
they're
way.
related.
No way, look at that.
Yep.
Such a different sized leaf. What's the size of the fruit?
Yeah, they're about that big.
And like a lily pilly sort of flavourish.
And they are Barbie pink.
Barbie pink, right?
It's a mildly sweet, watery, crunchy fruit.
Yeah.
And in Asia, it's often used with a condiment of soy sauce and chili, and you dip it in there. They're also very good if you put them in the refrigerator for a while to cool down. It kind of enhances the flavour.
Nice.
And that also makes a great champagne because it's kind of similar to the lily pilly.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And behind us here, there's a gramachama. Now, I've grown lots of gramachamas at my place, and I grow them because they're kind of cherry-like, and I can't get cherries where I am. How do they go here in WA?
They're a bit temperamental. They don't like the extreme summer conditions. Well, that's why we've tried to hem it in. The pomelo was actually much larger and was giving them some shade. A bit of a balance with this, because it actually likes quite a bit of sun here. Otherwise, it tends not to want to fruit.
It's an interesting experiment that you're doing here. The garden tells you what to do next.
Panama berry behind there.
Oh, yeah. It's a little strawberry tree, isn't it?
In the undergrowth, you can't really see it from here. You can see it from the driveway. There's chinotto. That one's an orange berry, so that is the smallest citrus berry in the world. Next to that is the chinotto.
Never seen chinotto growing, so there we go.
The Italians make a dessert with chinotto. They use the whole fruit and basically candy it. And when it comes to dessert, you could have it with ice cream or whatever, but you just have a single fruit with some of the syrup. and I must admit it is absolutely delightful.
And so, just while I'm here, this is saltbush, isn't it, here?
Yes,
The-
yes, so that provides a useful hedge.
Yeah.
That's very popular. We give that away as cuttings a lot.
Yeah.
That's a myrtle berry, so common myrtle,
Yep.
which can be turned into drinks, and it's also a juniper berry substitute. You can use the branches for barbecues. You put it over meat,
Yeah.
as many branches as you
Yeah.
like, and it flavours the meat.
So we're going to find our way in here.
So that's a petanga, and there's a chinotto.
There's a chinotto.
They're very bitter fruit, and it takes a few years before it starts producing fruit. But once it does, it's pretty prolific.
Yeah, look at that.
You can keep it quite small, so that's
And
pretty
these-
useful.
And tell us about this one, the orange berry.
Yeah, it's just an unusual fruit. Again, it doesn't like our winters, so the leaves tend to turn a bit yellow. The berries, they almost taste like marmalades.
The
Like,
young ones?
actually, they would be okay. The strange thing about this fruit, we've noticed, all the groups we've had here, that ladies seem to love it. And often the men think it tastes revolting. So there's something in there that sort
Yeah.
of kind of the different taste buds.
That's really nice.
It makes a nice little snack food.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's well, here it's fruiting basically throughout the year. We've got 6 grapevines. We used to have about 9. We've whittled it back now to the ones that give us consistent fruit with the least amount of powdery mildew or any other
yeah,
problem,
no.
and also which give us an extended harvest from the earliest to the latest.
And then do you take cuttings of those and
Yes.
share them
Yeah,
out with
yeah.
people? Yeah.
Yes, the fig trees are another popular cutting as well.
You know, that is such an amazing thing to be able to share out. All these herbs and the fruit trees and the perennial vegetables and all the different things that you've worked out work well here, to say this is what works, and here, go and give it a try and pass it on.
Well,
Here.
I mean, you know, the things that we're giving away, they are excess to us.
Yeah.
I think most gardeners feel terrible if they have waste, and most of us can't kill a plant.
No, and we can't eat that much. So right from the front gate all the way to the back corner is just full of wonderful, edible amazingness. Oh, cafe lime, look at that. And trespassers will be compost. Oh, you have lots
yeah,
of fruit
there
on
we
there.
go, cafe lime.
All the leaves. I mean, as well, you go into a store, a couple of leaves will cost you several dollars.
That's the beauty of backyard gardening. I mean, you know, even on the smallest property, you simply have to list the things that are expensive in the shops,
Yeah.
and then just grow them if you're limited for space.
What is this one here?
That's a tree mallow. If you remember, during COVID, there was a vast shortage of toilet paper, and I made a little humorous post about all the different things that you could use in your garden instead of toilet rolls. It also has kind of herbal property. People know about the very common herbs, but most plants and trees have medicinal properties.
right. And there's-
Everything's multifunctional.
There's like well over 30,000 varieties of things that are edible, but yet, you know, like it's 3 plants that feed most of the world's populations. You know, what is it, like wheat, rice, maize?
Yeah, that's not the way we were meant to live.
No.
You know, humans are foragers, so we are meant to be walking around picking something different every day, from the sky, from the ground.
And this particular perennial basil,
That's basically grown because the bees love
They
it,
do.
and we want to keep the bees happy. Yeah, we give a
Bees
lot of
everywhere.
cuttings away of that as well, because people nowadays often say, I'm having problems with pollination in my garden, there aren't any bees. So the first thing we say is, well, unless somebody's kind of spraying nearby, plant bee pollinators.
yes. Well, it's been an absolute delight walking around your garden with you. So this is the sign here, Jetto's Patch. It's an absolutely amazing garden. Thank you so much, Michele, for just showing me
Thank you
through.
very much for coming.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to share the garden passion.
And there's a lot of that here, I can see. Yeah.
Obsessed.
Don't forget to look down below and you'll find all the links to how to follow Michele and Dario's blog posts and notes and lessons and insights. Thank you, really thank you. It's just been amazing.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining me on that amazing tour. Leave me a note down below. What inspired you? If you want to design a garden like this, check out the links to my courses. This is the kind of garden that we help you design. I'm so grateful to Michele and Dario for opening their garden to me. Together, We're building a world of abundance, care, resilience, wildness and kindness, one garden at a time. Remember, subscribe, like, share, comment. Come back for some more tours coming up soon, and check out our huge resource of garden tours and garden tips from our permaculture life.